Good morning, everybody. And another day, another SPX Daily Live. So, yesterday, another day, another all time high at 63.05 ish. Just a quick comment on yesterday's action, at least from my point of view. Um, as you can see, we kind of topped out here at 63.35 ish. New intraday all time high, and we kind of was stuck in this zone. There was, from my point of view, some interesting action yesterday. It seemed like there was good morning, good morning, glad you're here. So it seemed, from my point of view, there was some interesting action here. We kind of stalled out right in this zone. There was a lot of clusters of calls right over here, 35, 40. I think 40 was a large feature. I don't remember exactly. And then as the volume here kept picking up, the situation flipped. What was long was short. Market makers were customers were long calls up here and short calls in this area. That started flipping. I don't know, people were closing, same people trading bullshit, doesn't really matter what happened. This whole area, and there were some pretty large zero DTE trades that we flagged during the day, 1,000 lots of spreads. And then as stuff started coming in later in the day, we broke below that 25 level, which had customer market maker was short right below that 25, and we just went all the way through, and then kind of had that bounce right off of 6,300 and closed there. Okay, overnight action, nothing much, and here we are. Also, yesterday, despite all the up and down and dramatic action, we were up by 8 points. So even with like a straddle price of, I think it was sub 25 yesterday, we realized 8 points of vol. I'm saying that to say this, yeah, 100, 100. And actually, we'll get to this. There's a flyish looking structure if we want. If when I look at the positioning, centered around that. Okay, so here we are, and vol is just not realizing. Even like I said, with a 25 or less than 25 straddle price, we realized 8. And McMillan, the guru, the OG, who I cut my teeth on quarter of a century ago, he's still plugging away, and he has his, whatever his back tested stuff that he's been doing for who knows how long, and he has realized 20-day realized vol was 8%, and that's kind of his overbought type indicator. Only when realized goes back up to 10%. So I'm just flagging that. Do with it what you will. There's a lot of stuff in the vol space. Different people look at things differently. That's saying something has to give, even if it's a gradual renormalization, for lack of a better way to put it. If anybody else has a better way to put it, I'd be happy to hear it. Um, and so here's this other thing that I kind of scribbled together. This is a McMillan thing. And when we reach the top here. This is based on realized vol and put call ratios and stuff. And so the put call ratio again, all those metrics are saying we're kind of getting a little incautious here. That doesn't mean sell though. Things could just kind of consolidate over time, renormalize gradually. Okay, so I don't want to like be like Chicken Little here, but at the same time, we need that yellow thing is like where we hit it twice. So like I said, I don't want to be Chicken Little, but at the same time, we got to pay attention to that. Or I'm paying attention to that. You can pay attention to what you want. Okay, so here we. Oh yeah, the other thing, just kind of looking at my note. End of June, they were Goldman and Morgan Stanley, whoever, was saying CTA flows to come in for the month of July were about 115 billion. So latest update I have on that is that there's about 25, 30 billion still left to come in. This week, apparently, even on a down tape, we get some buyers, but as we get into August, maybe Liberation Day hypothetically, then buyers on an up tape or flat tape, but sellers on a down tape, especially a two standard deviation move, which puts us at around 60, 65 ish. I did the homework. Okay, getting on to onto where we are now. So with all that said, let me switch gears and I want to talk about what we're seeing here. So this is options depth, and I'm going in deference to my buddy Paul Duncan. I'm also going to pull Gamma Edge up, and if he wants to type in a little bit about how he's using that and viewing that, I'm cool with that. I got you know, no problem, quote unquote, one way or another. Okay, so what I was saying before, you see, we have these fly-looking structures here. So here's one market maker long, customer short at 80, at 20, and there's that center that Gamma Edge was seeing right here. So got this one flyish looking structure that we could rotate around 95, 6,300 round number. Right now we're kind of up here, right at a stally kind of area. But, we have this potential magnet here. But now these values are small. Small. If we look at them, they're 766 contracts and not thousands. Yesterday we had pretty large volume concentration here. So the way I looked at that, the way I'm looking at the market today is we have these fly looking chunks almost. Got this fly looking structure from 95 to 45 with a center of 20, 25. Or if we're in the next zone, one that I just flagged before, we have this structure here, and then below we have another structure. We have like 95, 65 with a center here. So the setup today seems to me, if I were to put on my mind reading hat, is that there seems to be customer bought straddles and hedges, maybe for Powell, or I don't know. There seems to be a little bit more of those kind of features than we typically see. Now, with that said, I'm going to take a look at Gamma Edge, and if Gamma Edge wants to make a comment, and when Paul gets back from Italy, we'll do something together. Hold on, private chat. Sounds good, he says. Okay. Okay, so this is the whole complex, and you can see, well, look at that, coincidence, coincidence. Kind of the whole job zone is kind of contained in his in whatever their secret source, whatever numbers, however they calculate this, in their kind of zone right here. So 70 to 25, and we're kind of right in the middle of that zone. Invert, let's look at the 1 DTE. So this would be considered as kind of a supportish area, 80, according to like their metrics. We're right at this 95 area. And although we have all these calls up here, that's, I think, clearly a bridge too far. Just for fun, I haven't used their stuff as much as I used to in the good old days. Let me throw on the rest of the week. Okay, hold on. Go ahead. So not name levels. We have enough names for our levels. You they do, but significant net OI will make moving through those next levels impossible. Note that the entire area above 6350 has each strike occupying net 2000 net call OI, which tells you why the right hand plane. That's their one of their metrics. We're not going to go into that overhead. That's clearly from their yeah overhead decaying charm down, formidable headwind. Okay. Um, and Volem, that's one of their proprietary deals. And when we have Paul on, he can explain some of that stuff. But what he's talking about is the decaying charm from above. They just have a they visualize charm. They just have different tools, different whatever computer programs they do to visualize it. I don't know. I'm a simple man. Um, so yeah, so that's that. So when we look at this, we still see the same kind of transition area. We have this decay from above that Paul was talking about. I'm going to go back to OD, and I noticed that while we see this market maker short on the daily, the zero DTE, it doesn't show up quite the same way on the heat map, which is everything, which takes into consideration the whole structure. Let me make sure I have everything in here. I have it in properly, zero DTE. Okay, that looks right. Let's change this to gamma instead of position numbers. That way we can see the relative influence. And let's just kind of get the main areas in. I like to give a little room on top so that we can kind of visualize it in context. And so here's where we are, right at the 6310, where we should stall out. But again, there's not a lot there, not a ton there. And then we end up over at that 20 area. If we can break through here, we kind of grind up here. But these are kind of smallish features. The biggest feature that may have some significance is the where is it? Right here, the customer short, the market maker short, customer long puts obviously down here at 65. And the path of least resistance would be a drift down. So if Powell says something that pisses the market off, we kind of drift down. And if we can't get back above this, we kind of drift down here. Let me pull up the charm map. And when Paul was talking about right hand plane is kind of above spot, or the call above spot, and the left hand plane is below spot. If that's kind of the right way to say it, I forget. It's been a while, Paul. Um, Correct. Yay me. they, they have a really good training stuff, including like I was Gamma Edge Academy. I think I don't know. I took the course through Masters or whatever, like so I passed the course, and even though it's been a while, I haven't. I still remember it. What is it called? Yeah, I passed the course where they actually walk you through all the different metrics, how to use it, and then they give you like a quiz. So if this is here, what would it be? Where would you look? Whatever. It's kind of fun. Okay. So anyway, that said. So here we are, so right away looking for pins. I always like in my old age, I enjoyed playing pinball. So without going into a great big Greek explanation here, we pin, we tend to pin below the suppressive, below the yellow, at the borders, if you can find them, of yellow and blue. We tend not to pin on a market maker long strike. And so possible pins, 25-ish, kind of more or less flat to where we are now. 6,300-ish, like basically flat to the close. 87, a little bit of weakness. And this big area, if we kind of have some weakness somewhere down in here. Now let's see what I got. Okay. So what do I got here? I got my little leftovers here from my little IRA from when I had a job with an IRA. I've always kind of worked for myself pretty much, or in kind of a position where I had my own self-directed stuff. I had this little IRA from 1996, maybe. I worked at a place for 6 months, and I threw it in here eventually when I, stopped working there. Anyway, that said, let me see what I got here. Okay, so I didn't do anything. This is just my my straddle stuff, my weekly straddles. I guess do a few of these small. I say here's the weekly straddle. So good. So this is kind of clean. Well, this was yesterday's fly. Looks like I kind of nailed it, huh? Yeah. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So anybody who knows me by now knows that I'm a iron condor first and foremost. So right away, I spy with my little eye 55. Oh, Powell started talking. How come I don't see the market doing anything? Anybody in there, guys, want to throw in a whatchamacallit, a copy of a tweet or something that's what the gurus are saying, what Powell says? I mean, I'm not seeing. He could just be saying what he always says. Basically, the market is yawning, which I guess the vol was set right. I guess he's not announcing that he's quitting, right? So why do I like 55? I mean, again, I always like to be below the round number if possible, so I'd be happy to be at 50, but there's really Not much juice there. Let's make sure I got this set right. Position 0DT. Okay. So we got this little supporty thing here at 60, but if we lose 80 and these stay, it could get a little ugly sweaty. So 50 would be better. 55 would be not great. But we have this fly structure to stay in the middle of. So let's just see. See, at 50, they don't want to pay. Oh, 40 cents? Kind of sucks. Now, again, you guys know me, I think, with my Frankenstein flies. And so I would even consider, just for fun, let's see what this looks like. A 60, 40 with maybe where was the market maker long? So okay, so here's our magnet, right? 65. So my thinking is, okay, you're right below the one way to skin this cat, but there's not enough juice there, would be something like this. Not enough credit though. But if I move it up to here, nah, have to do a broken wing or do something like that. All right, something like that gets to play with. Something like that, or even something like this to have this for convexity to play with. I'll put that in for now. Up on top. Up on top is tricky. Do we want to take some fake pain up here on top like we did yesterday? I mean, 50 would be nice if you can get juice up there, but I'm pretty sure there's not. But if I can get 40 cents, I'll take it. 45 even better. And I'll also put in a 5 or 10 wide for people that don't like to go this wide. Because oh wow, look at that. Look at how much juice there is here. Okay, so there's demand up here at that 40. And remember there was customer longs at the 40 yesterday too. That's a 10 delta. Huh. What's going on up here at 40? So this, at 45 we got this. A little funny looking on top here too. So maybe I'll do it like this. Not enough. That doesn't look right. No, I don't like the way that looks either. For some reason I can't build what I'm trying to build. All right, let's start off here. That's expensive. Too much demand for this call here at 40. I don't like it. You could do a cheapy flyer like this. I don't see anything brilliant. Sorry. Easiest thing that I see right here is this. Goes to one lot, and then I'll manage it later. And that's what I see. 50 should be good. I don't know if there's enough juice there. So if we wanted to do a more conservative, um, like 5 or 10 wide, I mean 5 wide. Whoops, 5 wide. You're getting 20 cents here. If you want to go 5 wide on the bottom, something safe-ish, you have to go a little higher. Something like that. Try to get 40 cents or something on a 5 wide. Although, I like to enter separately. 50 should be good. But I mean, we're grinding. We're grinding. So let's see what happens. I don't know what Powell said. Anybody know what Powell said? Somewhere here they have I got one that gives me the news. Powell, Fed is dynamic institution open to new ideas and feedback on how to improve capital framework. What's all this? How does this thing work? Here we go. I never even used this before. Anybody else listening to Powell? Oh, yeah, by the way, as I mentioned in my note, home builders. We had some interesting, we also have earnings coming up, by the way, in case you didn't read my note. We have earnings coming up. We have tech tomorrow. We have IBM. We have Google. And we have Tesla. We have home builders today. So there's some sector read-throughs that then the macro bros will tell you what they think it means. No, it isn't moving the market much, right? So he's not saying anything that means, right? How do I get rid of this now that I created a monster? How do I close this stupid thing? Anybody know how I close this stupid thing now that I clicked it? I created a monster. Well, whatever. That's not. Let's just get away from there. Goodbye. Yeah. So here we are. Market stuck here. No comments on Macho. What was he gonna give me? Who players I should draft my fantasy football team? Maybe he'll pick Super Bowl winners. Okay, so that's really it. Let me see if there's anything else I got in my notes I want to mention. Oh yeah, so 35 was yesterday's high of the day. So that's obviously another target, just regular price action trading. And do we happen to have something up there? Not really. And that's it. We're basically in a holding pattern. Um, One second here. So I'm not going to add. I may or may not add to the Friday straddles. I tend to kind of build around them. Ooh, this one all the way down here, I'll put in a 65% close. You guys know I'm a closer. I'm not leaving stuff to lay around. If it were a little closer to expiration, I might close it at a higher percent, but that far away in time and in strike. Okay, 64.10, close position. Let's see what the 65% looks like. Okay, so this one is a little close and round numbery, so we don't want to play with these people. Is that 50%? That don't look right. Close at 50% profit. Yeah, there we go. That looks right. Okay. And we got this thing over here. This we could do 65%. Okay, that's it. As far as scalps that I would look for today, let's put this up. I mean, we had that path up toward the 2025 top of chop, but we're kind of almost there. What kind of like yesterday, where is it? What I would want to look for. So where do I see opportunistic scalps? What I would, from here down to here, but that's a drift, not a big scalp. From 95, again, kind of grind. That's kind of grindy. Below 80, I guess below 80. So if we have some weakness, which doesn't look like we're having in this breaks, the 80-ish to 65-ish, again, easy 5-10 point scalp in this direction. If that breaks up on top, we're kind of almost at our destination here. If we can get through 25, we can have a similar thing to yesterday where we kind of head up, and we're not heading up into positive gamma like we were yesterday, so you might be able to get a little breakouty kind of trade here. And that's it. Private chat. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I must have made a joke, which I do. Okay. And that's really it. I'm looking to see if there's anything else in my notes. I don't really see anything. Um, Expected move was a muted, whatever it was when I looked before. Oh, we can just look right now, see what the expected move ish is. Expected move is 22. That's like 0.3%, give or take. The expected move is like 30 on top and 90 on bottom, or we want to give it a little play. There's your expected move. So an IC seller, I certainly want to be outside of that. And a scalper, those are kind of potential targets. 30 looks like a reasonable target. Downside if we break, which I don't know if we do, maybe this 85 area, and that's it. All right. See you guys for pinball. Yesterday we didn't do pinball because my goat broke his scur. Now, what a scur is, see, I'm learning these things. when goats are disbudded, and that's the nice way for saying chop their horns off so they don't grow big horns and like get caught on the fence and like even though they're playfully butting into you, they got big ass horns. So when they're disbudded as babies, they have like little bone nubbins and sometimes they just kind of fall off like a hangnail. And his scarf fell off and was bleeding and whatever. And so I noticed that during my 2:30 break, and so I had to put whatever medication on it so that it doesn't get infected, whatever. Although it didn't seem to bother him, he was still butting everybody. He didn't seem to care, but anyway. So that's it. Trade safe. Good for you. Good for you. No trade is better than a losing trade. But I'm not a no trade person. I'll say that though. I very rarely do I not find a setup. That doesn't mean I don't take a loss occasionally, but I usually like to get out of danger sooner rather than later and then reposition rather than do the keep hope alive trade. Okay, with that, I'm done. You're welcome, Rick. Oh, wait, no, I'm not done. What I forgot to do, and Paul's got to get me a discount link. My mouse is sticking. What I forgot to do is do the discount links and stuff. So really, I should get that in the beginning if I had this stuff planned out better. Okay, I got this in my thing somewhere. Of course, if you don't already subscribe to my Substack, there's my Substack link for you folks on YouTube and Twitter. And then let me put the discount links for those people that gave them to me. If somebody wants me to give a discount link, but it's got to be a product that I use and I like. I'm not going to give it, I'm not like a toothpaste salesman, like brush your teeth with whatever. It's stuff that I use. There's options depth. There's mental Q. I'm not sure what discount they're running these days. And that's it. Just in time for Vol 6. Okay, I'm going to see if I'm going to ask. I'm going to see if I can get some more special guests, at least to appear the way Gamma Edge did on Twitter and to say something. I'm going to twist some arms. Okay. See you guys later. As always, look for my comments in various chats. You know where to find me.